From rock bottom to the bright lights, this is where redemption meets hustle. CEOs, entrepreneurs, creators, and comeback stories. This is real inspiration. Welcome to the GITT Up podcast with your host, Adam Larkin. It's not just a show, it's a movement. Now let's get it. Today I've got someone who defines creativity and purpose. From small town Kentucky to modeling, acting, and launching her own media company, she's showing what it looks like to walk in faith, build something real, and help others see their worth. She's a model, actress, photographer, and certified life coach, and the owner of Bad Ashe Media, where she's empowering others through storytelling and authentic self-expression. Ashe, welcome to the GITT Up podcast.
Thank you for having me, Adam. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. So where are you from and where'd you grow up?
I'm from the deep, dark hills of eastern Kentucky, Harlan County. I grew up there my whole life, and I've lived in Lexington for 12 years now.
Nice. You like Lexington?
I do. It's grew on me. I didn't like it at all the first year I was here. But I went through a lot that first year when I was here. My brother passed away that year, and then I kind of felt stuck here because of my mom. I didn't want to leave her, and I hated my job at the time, and then but I think you have to go through all these, trials to make you who you are today. So you have to go through the tough times to be the strong people that you become. And so you have to go through the bad stuff to get to the good stuff. But I love it now.
Yeah, absolutely. Being from New York, I like Lexington. Mm-hmm. Reminds me a lot, kind of ironically, where I'm from. So people think of New York City. And I'm a couple hours north of New York City in Saratoga Springs, and they got the huge racetrack, kind of like the Kentucky Derby, and it's like one of the biggest racetracks in the country. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Lexington is right at home for me. I like it.
Yeah, you have a bit of like the country, and then you can be in the city in 5 minutes. You can be at the horse park, you can be at the castle. Right. So it has like a little bit of everything here. And
they got the international airport, which is what I need.
Yeah, and we have Lex Studios now, a huge production company right at our back door. So.
Boom. With tax incentives to film here.
That's right.
So what was life growing up there? Like, how do you think your hometown shaped who you are today?
Life in Harlan was obviously before social media existed. Thank goodness for that. So, I grew up in the mountains, very much tomboyish. I had 2 older brothers, so I grew up playing with them and four-wheeling and mudding and ATV and dirt bikes and just being outdoors. So, I love nature. I think that's why, you can go out in the nature and it's very therapeutic because I kind of grew up in it. And that I do miss that. I miss the mountains. I do miss that a lot about Harlan. And I miss, small town people. We know everybody. You can go back and everybody knows you and you know their families, you know their kids. But Lexington is honestly kind of like a bigger version of Harlan because so many people from Harlan live here now. And then once you're in Lexington, you pretty much know everybody here too. So, yeah.
Yeah, I like Harlan. So we just opened up the 4th Dimension Treatment Center in Harlan, Kentucky.
Awesome. Congratulations
for women. And Jen's there running that like a champion right now.
I'm very proud of her. That's awesome.
And like you said, just good people, man. Mm-hmm. Southeastern in the mountains. I couldn't believe it. Population only 1,800. I was like, that really shocked. I'm like, 1,800 people.
I feel like that's smaller than it was when I was
2,200 people in my high school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a pretty small town, which there's good and there's bad with that. You know everybody, but then they know everything about you too. So that can be good and bad both ways.
Right. Well, you described growing up, and it brought back a lot of memories for me, like when kids were actually kids. Like you go out, don't come home till it's dark, ride bikes, build forts, go in the woods, Yeah. Now it's like you see some of these kids are just always looking down, glued to a phone, not hiking or getting sunlight or boating or ATVing. And it's like, I think there's something lost in that.
Yeah. So, for someone that's always on social media, I actually hate social media. Like, it's just like half the time I just want to throw my phone out the window. And so I was very blessed to grow up when we didn't have it. Some of the apps they have today, I think, are so horrible, especially for mental health, especially for our children's mental health, because there's so many things that they can watch, so many, depressive stuff. And it's like the algorithm. If you watch one thing about this, then that's what's going to continue to pop up on your algorithm. So I think it's very important as parents to make sure you're looking at what your children's looking at to make sure that they're okay mentally and that they're not watching something bad. But yeah, I think that social media has ruined a lot of, the way it used to be. Like I always talk about how I love, like the love that my grandparents had, and it seems like that's so hard to find these days. Like, does that exist anymore? Because social media has made it so hard. Everybody has a swipe that they think that there's always something better out there. Instead of like worrying about watering the grass that you have, they're always looking for something more, looking for something better. And they should just, focus on making yourself better and, your own life better. And so, of course there's benefits to social media, but a lot of times I hate it.
Me too, man. I'm on there a lot, and great for marketing, great tool for business, great tool, to have a few 100,000 people real quick, see what you're doing. But as far as anytime, like I went to a ministry in Tennessee on the North Carolina-Tennessee border, and me and my brother got a cabin, and it purposely, like, you couldn't even get Wi-Fi unless you walked up to, like, the main lodge. And, of course, I had to hook up there and do some content. But 90% of the time, didn't have Wi-Fi or anything. It was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like we grew up, like you're saying, in that age to where there was no internet, was no cell phones, got to be kids. But then when we did learn about marketing and all these different things, this stuff started to come out. So it's like we were the last generation to have the best of both worlds.
Right. That's true.
We were kids without it, but then we were adults with it. And, if you invested smart or learned it well, you can make a lot of money with it, especially as it progresses.
That's true.
It's like I wish I would have bought Google or Apple or something in the 90s.
There's a lot of things I wish I would have done. Yeah.
So when did you first realize you wanted to step into the creative world, modeling, acting, photography, coaching, and what sparked it?
I've always been creative. When I was a little girl, I used to record myself singing or reading or playing school or, all these things. I was just always, I always entertained myself. So I think that's also why it's so easy for me I call myself a loner a lot, because I can entertain myself. Like I dance in the kitchen with my dog. I post content dancing with my dog, drinking my coffee or whatever.
Stuff blows up sometimes. Like when people post just genuine, just having fun.
That's what makes me happy, like little simple things like that, little joys like my coffee or my dog, little things. I think a lot of people need to realize the importance of simplicity and just being at peace with your life and, enjoying the little things that you're blessed with each day. I don't know. I was always creative as a little girl. And then I've been acting and modeling for 15 years, and that just kind of happened. My daughter was 3 at the time, and Terry Muncie, who is no longer with us, he was from Indiana, but his hometown was Harlan. So he came back to Harlan to do a film there, Stand Like a Mountain. And my dad was terminally ill at the time, and we couldn't go see him that weekend. And so I actually took Bella to a casting call to see if they could use her for something. And I remember walking into the room, and the director looks at me and goes, "That's our Laurie." And he was like, "Have you ever, read for a movie before?" And I was like, "No, but my life's been a soap opera. I'm a natural at it." So he had me read a few lines of Laurie, and they offered me the lead role on the spot. And then Bella got a little role too. So she ended up being on the front page of the newspaper, and we took it down to Dad, where he was in long-term care, and hung it up in his room, and then he passed 7 days later. So I used acting kind of like a coping mechanism, threw myself into that, and I enjoyed like how much I loved being in front of the camera, but I also loved like seeing what all goes on behind the scenes. And so I think that's when it started, like me being super intrigued with the whole just acting and making movies and TV. So then I ended up signing with an agent out of Knoxville, Tennessee. She's no longer doing it now, but it was Studio Model and Talent Agency with Janice Passons, and she was like my second mama for a long time. But that's where we shot a lot of the true crime stuff back then. Snapped, Killer Couples, Oxygen Network, a lot of those, Homicide Hunter. So I was in several episodes of that, and that's kind of what got me started. And then you just meet people along the way. And then I filmed my first theatrical movie, Dorothy and the Witches of Oz, with Lee Scott in Connecticut during a winter snowstorm. I thought I was going to be stuck down there. And I was miserable. It was so cold. But it was awesome. I met so many people. That's when I first worked with Al Snow. former WWE wrestler who now owns OVW Wrestling in Louisville. Everybody loves Al, and I'm friends with him and his wife. And you just meet people along the way, and then you just kind of are kind of in that circuit of the industry. Like, and you look for casting calls and stuff like that. But I just enjoy it. I just really enjoy it. And then as for the modeling side, I've done that for so long, and I've worked with a lot of sketchy photographers, and I hate to say that, but there's sketchy people in every industry. So I decided to become a photographer myself, mainly to give women a safe space where they could feel comfortable with someone who's been on the other side of the camera, and because I love to help people feel confident and sexy and beautiful, and because a lot of times, and this is what I've learned as a model with a lot of people that I know that were models, we're the most insecure people that you would ever believe, and no one thinks that because we're constantly putting ourselves out there. But every single person I've met that's done something behind the camera has, very, like, a lot of stories that they've gone through, like really hard times or abusive situations or just scary moments. And so it's actually harder for people to model than you think because they're actually really insecure people. So I love to work with people and help build their confidence and just build them up as a person. Let them, I love for people to know their worth.
Well, it's good to have a passion and a purpose behind what you're doing. And also, we need more women empowering other women, especially in the industry. Because, like, you hear about, like, Harvey Weinsteins and people, like, you don't know for years. They're doing all sorts of sketchy things. And it's
people
like,
were afraid to speak up.
Yeah.
No one would listen to them when they did speak up. So,
right.
Yeah.
So what was the first big break or opportunity that made you feel like, okay, this is really happening?
I don't know that I don't know that I've had a big break. I just enjoy what I'm doing. I've tried not to overthink too much into it. I don't think I'll ever leave Kentucky because I'm a Kentucky girl through and through. I always tell people I speak cornbread. People love my accent. When I first met Tim that works the studio here, the producer of the studio, he said he loved my accent. And, I love having, like, it's something I don't want to change about myself, because I've seen people that's moved away and come back and all of a sudden they're talking different. And I'm like, wait a minute, where are you from again? But I don't know. I don't even know what I was going with that. But I'm just a Kentucky girl. I never wanted to go out to L.A. I never had that whole Hollywood desire. But, Hollerwood maybe, because I am from the Holler,
Right.
Patterns Creek in Harlan County. But I just like doing what I'm doing. I take each day as it comes. I try to motivate people. If anyone follows me and they see some of my posts, I actually do write a lot of captions, and I've been very transparent about things I've gone through. And I tell stories about stuff that I've gone through because I want other women especially to see they're not alone if they're dealing with that stuff. And I try to be motivational, and because, we all go through hard times and fight depression and anxiety every day. That's one of the reasons why I keep myself so busy. I have to. Like, if I'm not busy, I start feeling, those episodes of sadness again. And so I'm just constantly go, 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 because who wants to feel sad? But we all go through that. But I stay busy. I like it. I enjoy it. And I just like helping other people, so. Yeah,
me too. Sometimes people are like, think that I like switched addictions. Like, now, you're a workaholic or I'm like, nah, I just need to stay busy. Yeah. And the more projects I have going on and the more inspirational, motivational things I'm doing, any way I can help other people, the gym, hiking, breath work, meditation, prayer, it's like, these are great things to fill your life with.
Yeah. So I don't think that I've had a big break, but, when I get a message from someone that says, hey, something you wrote really resonated with me and it helped me, or it helped save my life, or hey, I was thinking about ending my life and I didn't because of something you said, that right there is my big break. Just knowing that I helped somebody, even if it's just one person, that's all that matters to me. So.
Right. Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
So tell us about Bad Ashe Media. Where'd the name come from? What inspired it? And what are you doing now? Sounds awesome.
I was actually named after two soap operas that my mom still watches to this day. Ashley from Young and the Restless and Brooke from Bold and the Beautiful. And she still tapes them and records them to this day. She even in high school, recorded over our cheerleading competition with her soap operas. So I don't even get to watch like my high school stuff because my mother loves her soap operas. But when I very first had the movie Dorothy and the Witches of Oz, and the director had to put me on IMDb, we had to have an actor name. So there was like 7 Ashley Parkers. And so that's why I'm like, I'm not going to change my name. And so we just went with Ashe and put an E on the end just because it made it different and creative. So it kind of stuck. I've always been called Ashe my whole life anyway. And so when I first started to kind of go on that life coaching journey, which I didn't really do a lot of, but the name that came to mind was Bad Ashe Coaching. And I tried that for a little bit, but honestly, I felt guilty. I didn't want to charge people to help them. So, like, I just kind of let that die off. But even though I'm a certified life coach, I just try to do that in my daily, just on a daily basis as who I am as a person, like with my character, just treating people good and being kind and helping people. And so when I decided to do photography, Bad Ashe Photography or Bad Ashe Media came to mind. And then, the initials are BAM. So,
right. That's
BAM,
cool.
baby. But I know it's kind of cheesy. But anyway, that's what came to mind was Bad Ashe Media. So my first big print job was for Harley Davidson, our local Harley Davidson. I shoot their calendars and do the creative direction, cast the models, do all the design of the shots, pick the motorcycles. I love it, which I worked at Harley 10 years ago. So I kind of been in that industry with them. Love the people there, love the atmosphere. Bought my own motorcycle this year, and it's probably the best purchase I've ever made. It's
Nice.
so freeing, and wind therapy is such a real thing, and I love it. So, yeah, I'm just sporadic sometimes, but I like to enjoy life, I want to live. I don't want to just exist, so.
Yeah, I had a Gixxer 750 at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah, bikes are awesome.
Those are
I'm
dangerous.
lucky. I'm lucky I didn't die because that was
Yeah.
actually in like active addiction too.
Yeah, I had my best friend growing up who was struggling with addiction. He passed away on a bike. He was doing 110 miles per hour, and so he had a bad accident and didn't make it. I used to want one of those like you had, and I knew better. I'd kill myself. I love adrenaline. So
Right.
I went with a Honda Rebel 500. You
Nice.
can imagine what the people at Harley said when I put up on a
On a
Honda
Honda.
and not a Harley.
Right.
But I will eventually have a Harley. The Honda Rebel has been an amazing first time bike, but I love it. Like I'm keeping it. I'm not getting rid of it.
Right.
But I'll eventually get a Harley.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Maybe a lowrider Softail or something. I don't know. We'll see.
Right. So what's been the toughest part of being an entrepreneur and creative? How have you pushed through those moments?
The toughest part is you're constantly pushing. It's not easy. I think people think that if you're an entrepreneur of any kind that you just have it made. No, you don't. You have to literally, you're your own boss. So you have to market yourself. You have to push. You have to constantly go after jobs. And, I learned a long time ago, if you don't go for what you want yourself, nobody's going to do it for you. So that's the hard part is sometimes you're just because, there's times that you're not doing anything. There might be, you said, dead time or times that you're not shooting and times that not everybody wants to spend extra money to do a shoot or this and that. Not everybody's getting married every day. Not everybody's shooting a calendar every day. So, but you just figure out what else to do during that. Which, I have a regular 9 to 5. I work for ERA Realty. So if anybody needs a house or is looking to buy or sell, I can hit you up with some amazing team members for that. But that's my normal job. I say normal, but I love it. Everybody's great there. And I can also still do what I love. I can still do the acting and photography. But, yeah, the hardest part is just kind of the waiting game when you're not constantly busy because I enjoy being constantly busy.
Right. Yeah, me too. Mm-hmm. Like you said, though, it's at some point, you got to take a step of faith and bet on yourself because nobody else is going to bet on you.
That's right.
And it's if you want something out of life, go get it. You're never too old to do it. And
exactly.
I'm still trying to, and I'm sure you do this as well, beat myself up that I'm not doing enough. So
I do that all the time.
Now, even on my walks, I used to be well, I'm stacking goals. It's sunny out, so I'm getting vitamin D. I'm walking 4 or 5 miles, and I'm making a phone call to call family members I don't have time to just talk to during the week when I'm working. or edit a video or something. So at least I'm doing 3 things while walking.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, that's not good enough. So now I'm trying to learn Spanish fluently while I'm walking.
Goodness gracious. Yeah, I always feel like I could do more. That's one thing that I think we're all our hardest critics, but I do always like, I should be doing more with my life. What else should I be doing? What else should I be doing? But I don't know. I think maybe that's just ADHD too. So
Probably both.
Yeah, a little bit of both.
So how do you balance business with creativity, keeping your art authentic while still growing your brands?
I don't know how I balance. Am I really balancing it? I don't know. I don't know that I am. I just go. If somebody books something, I check my calendar. I just go. I make time as much as I can for people. So, yeah, I just make time for it.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if I'm as balanced as I should be either.
Yeah.
I try and do like prayer and meditation when I wake up and,
That's awesome.
do the gym, do hiking, do different things. But, yeah, I guess everybody could always be more balanced, right? Mm-hmm. I definitely notice when I'm out of balance, though. I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah, I do too. I notice, I think it's very important to listen to your body. So even though I'm very busy and I don't like to rest, it's very important to listen when you know that you need to rest. So it's not bad to have a day off and just lay on the couch and watch movies. I used to beat myself up over doing that.
Right.
I used to feel like I was just lousy and worthless if I'm sitting at home. But, sometimes it's nice to just chill. You know, and then, but even when I'm at home chilling, I'm still editing something. I was like, I cannot sit still sometimes for the life of me.
Well, and it's good for us mentally and physically, right? It's like your muscles grow the most when you actually rest.
Yeah, that's true. You got to have some recovery.
Yeah, I used to do the same and actually even injured my shoulder at one point. And then I'm like, I just listened to my body and I was this close. I was getting like cortisone shots in my shoulder and this close to getting surgery. And then I'm like, dude, just listen to your body. Like, don't go to the gym for a couple months. Like, that's when I really started walking and doing like cardio more. And then it healed like normal. So I didn't need a surgery or anything. I just needed to chill out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody wants surgery.
No. So you've worked across modeling, photography, and coaching. Which one feels the most like home to you? Or like, what do you like the most out of all the different things you're doing?
Honestly, I like, when you say coaching, I just feel like that's who I am as a person. I just really enjoy helping other people. So, even with the photo shoots, which I love doing the photo shoots. I love being a photographer and creative director because my creative energy is constantly flowing. But I get to help other people. So, especially like upcoming models, I love like feeling like a mentor to these girls and telling them like kind of what to stay away from and what to look out for, and then just that they don't have to do certain things, and just cheering them on. Like, I'm forever your hype girl, especially when I'm doing a shoot. If you've ever seen any of my behind the scenes of photo shoots, like, you will hear me doing the most. Like, yes, girl, yes, that looks good. Oh, you look great. Yes, stay right there, pose like that. I just can't help myself. That's just who I am as a person. I think also because when I was modeling, I didn't have anybody do that for me. And so it's really hard as women to get positive feedback from other women. And as a woman, I would rather have positive feedback from a woman any day than a man. Like, I would rather women compliment me and say, oh, you look beautiful today, than having a man comment, oh, you look hot, and I don't know. It just gets on my nerves as a woman sometimes. But a lot of times, and no offense because you are a man, but a lot of times, a lot of the men that comment on women's photos, we would much rather be told you're beautiful, you're pretty, you're stunning, you're gorgeous, a great job at what you're doing, instead of, oh, you're hot, or damn, girl. It's just like a lot of men just, maybe it's just the way they were brought up. They just don't know any better, or they just don't know how to speak to women. But I think it's important for women to empower each other. But I think it's important as people to empower each other and build each other up, because there's so much crap in the world as it is. There's so much negativity in the world, and I hate negativity. I refuse to be around it. I refuse to speak it. I can't even stand someone being negative toward me. I'm like, stop. I ain't listening. We ain't being negative here. And I think that's huge to be a positive person, be a positive influence. And it can also change your entire day. Like, your mindset, if you wake up and be like, God, I hate this job, I don't want to go to work, instead of maybe change your mindset. Like, I'm blessed that I have a job, and I'm grateful that I get to go to work, and I'm glad I have a car to drive to get there. And, Just changing the way you think can help you so much. Just helps your day go better.
Perspective and perception's huge, right? It's
It
just
is
as easy to
huge.
wake up and be like, life sucks, it's gloomy out, and name 40 things that's wrong. But it's just as easy to name 40 things you're grateful for, even if it's something simple.
Yeah, and
And
it
if you can't
literally
give me
makes you
40,
feel better.
give me 5 things you're grateful for. Like,
Just do the little things that bring you joy can change your day so much.
yeah. Yeah, I'm the same. The only way I can do everything I'm doing is to remain like super positive. And
You
it's
have
like,
to.
it's a perspective too.
Yeah.
You know?
Because not every day do I feel like being a positive Parker. Like
No.
sometimes I'm just like, but I will always put a smile on my face. Even if I'm having the worst day, if I run into someone, I will be smiling. And I'm like the biggest person to compliment everybody. I can't help myself. I love it. I love to make people feel good. Even if I'm going through a drive-through, I'm like, oh, I love your earrings. I love your shirt. I love your hair. I love your nails. It just one little compliment can change someone's entire day. So,
Yeah, and the language and how we do stuff. Like you're saying, instead of being like, oh, you're hot or whatever, it's
Yeah.
like, it's free to be nice to somebody. It
is.
doesn't cost anything to be
Yeah.
courteous or use proper grammar or, just
yeah.
say things in the right way. There's different ways to say the same thing.
Yeah. And I try not to take offense to a lot of things because I don't know if it's a good quality I have or a bad quality I have, but I try to see the best in everybody. I try to give people the benefit of the doubt until there's just no more benefit of the doubt that you can give. But I try to be like, well, maybe they just don't know any better, or maybe they didn't have parents growing up, or maybe they didn't have a good father or mother figure, and they just weren't raised with morals or manners or respect. So, I try not to take offense to certain things, but you can always be like a stepping stone to help people learn to be better humans to each other,
Right. You seem very authentic, so this question's easy. You've spoken about being authentic and letting people see the real you. What's that mean to you today?
What's what mean to me? Being authentic?
Yeah, like, how like we can put on facades, like you see on social media, 99% of the people, it's like their highlight reels.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah. And it is. Most of everything on social media is a highlight reel. But there's one thing that bothers me so much, especially as a photographer, are these filters. The filters are out of control because there's people that I know personally, and I'll run across because I guess on TikTok maybe or Snapchat, which I don't have Snapchat. I hate that app. But there's filters you can use like for videos. I know that there are on TikTok because I see people on there that use filters that look absolutely nothing. I mean, nothing like they look in real life. Like
almost fake and animated.
Completely different person from their real life photo. Some of them about filter their nose off because they're smoothing their face. And it makes me sad that people think, which I like, this is a negative of social media, that it has made people feel like they have to just look Barbie doll 24/7. And I can't. Like I used to edit my stuff. And of course everybody wants to have a great photo. But I also don't care as much as I used to. But that's part of growing up, I think, and just growth. And it's sad that people think that you have to look like magazine, material 24/7 because that's just unrealistic. But yeah, that bothers me a lot, are these filters and that women think that they have to look a certain way. And because honestly, you can be drop dead gorgeous on the outside, but if you have an ugly heart or ugly inside and your character is ugly, it makes you an unattractive person. Like I can't stand for someone to be mean to other people. I've always heard a saying like how people treat their servers or their bartenders or their waiters shows who they are as a character. And I've seen that happen. And I will not hang out with people that are like mean to other people. I can't stand that. Right. It's not cute to have that mean girl energy or mean boy energy. It's just, I hate that.
I just watched a documentary. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's new, the one on John Candy.
I haven't seen it.
So awesome, man. He was like one of my favorite people, but it just verified what I already knew. Every single person in that documentary was just how nice he was to everyone around him, from the custodian to the CEO of the hotel he was staying in. Just a great person.
And you remember people when they're like that. And I have a friend, Antonio Pantoja in Louisville, Kentucky. He's the nicest person I think I've ever met. And if anyone has ever ran across him or worked with him in any way, I know that they will agree, and they will say Antonio is the nicest person, and he never gives himself enough credit for anything he does, and he's an amazing director, amazing photographer, amazing creative director. He's working on a new movie right now, and he's got an awesome cast already lined up, so I'm super excited for him and my friends. There's a lot of creative people in our state, and so it's really awesome to have like all these cool things happening around us, and Lex Studios and stuff right here, and it's just exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. And it's a cool part of the country to live as far as like family, morals, values, you know, like down to earth, genuine people. Like I travel all the time, and, you know, being from a bigger state, it's like, I like it. You know, I'm proud to call Kentucky home now. I would have never thought that, you know.
Really?
As a kid, you know, I'm like Florida, New York, California a lot, but I'm like never ever went to Kentucky.
I'm glad you love it here.
My brother was the pioneer. He's lived here for like 20 years.
And you met Jen, so.
Exactly.
And I went to school with Jen, so yeah, I love seeing her do big things and seeing you do all this stuff. I just love it. I love seeing people do good. I want everybody to succeed, you know?
Yeah. Well, and it's cool having somebody with you, too, that, like, motivates you and inspires you. Because it's like, you know, some women with everything I'm doing might be like, oh, well, you don't pay enough attention to me. Or, you know, dude, she's just as motivated going full throttle as I am. So it's like we don't got time to do all that. We just support each other.
Yeah, that's awesome to see. I love that. Yeah,
so how does faith or spirituality play a role in your life and your work?
Oh, I wouldn't be where I was at today if I didn't have God.
Right.
You know, like someone said to me once, like when your feet first hit the floor in the morning, instead of, you know, complaining or whatever, you know, you say your prayers and you ask God, you know, what do you want me to do today? Like, how can I live more for you today? And start your day out like that, and you'll just have a better day. But, you know, I think it's important to pray. And, you know, I've been around a lot of people that have different beliefs, and, you know, I try not to judge anybody, but I do know, like, I have personal stories that I shouldn't be here. I should not be sitting here today if there wasn't a higher power watching over me. So I'm very thankful that I was brought up in a good home and knowing God and knowing church and stuff. And, you know, I've tried to instill that with my daughter, and she goes to Bible study, and I'm so proud of her. You know, because when I was her age in high school, we were doing the most. We were out in a field drinking moonshine, lying to our parents.
Right.
Like, we were at so-and-so's house, and we were not at so-and-so's house. We were at a field party, barely making it the next day because we were so sick. So I'm very thankful that my child is not like me when I was her age. But I always tell her to learn from my mistakes. You know, I've been very open and honest with her as a parent, too. And so I'm very blessed with her. But, yeah, my faith, you know, I've been through a lot. You know, my dad passed, my brother passed. I've seen a lot of bad things. I was in bad relationships. And like I said, I'm lucky to be sitting here. So I truly believe that the Lord has a purpose for my life. And if that's just being a motivational woman to other women, or a motivational friend to other friends, or to anyone, you know, that's great with me. You know, I just want to help people in any way I can. So
that's awesome. And the cool thing is too, like, I didn't know any guests' faith or anything, and every single person that's been on this podcast so far was pretty like-minded.
That's amazing.
And you could just see God shining through people, you know. And
you know, I think you can see it more so now lately too, like with TV and social media and just news outlets and all that. It's so depressing and horrible half the time, and you know, and politics and everything brings out the worst in people, and it shouldn't matter really if you're right or left. It's like, just be good humans. Like, be good humans, be good people to each other. Like, if you believe this way, I'm not going to say you're right or wrong. If you believe this way, cool, whatever. Just be a good person. Like, right. It's hard because, you know, social media does influence so many things. And so my advice to anybody is, like, just do your own research. Like, do your own research about things and issues, and then have your own opinion or whatever, but just be good people. Just be a good human. Like, it's not hard to be good to each other, because I feel like, you know, the more people that know Jesus and have Jesus in them, because I feel like when you have Jesus in you, then you do have love to give to everybody, and you are a kinder person. So, and raise your children like that, because, you know, some of these generations are just awful. And, you know, it's our job as parents to make sure our kids know what's right and what's wrong, and to be good people, and to, you know, not to be bullies and not to be mean to each other. That's one thing I cannot stand, is a bully. I seen a video yesterday, it broke my heart. These kids were bullying this little boy on the playground until they really, really hit, like he was pouring the blood. And I'm just like, this is awful. And, you know, I think it all starts at home. And that's what's sad, is you don't know what really goes on in people's homes, and if they have a good family life or good parents or role models. And so I think that's why it's so important, you know, when you run across people, whatever aspect that may be, is, you know, just be good to them, be kind to them, smile at them, make sure they're having a good day, help them if they need help, you know.
Right, and try and be empathetic. Like,
Yeah.
we don't always know what walking in somebody
Have
else's
no
shoes
idea what
looks
somebody's
like.
going through.
Right. Yeah, I agree. So what keeps you grounded and focused when life feels chaotic or uncertain? Obviously, you said Jesus.
Yeah, and my daughter keeps me motivated. And honestly, my brother that passed away motivates me from heaven. He would crack up if he knew it. I actually went to the gym now, because I refused to step foot in the gym when he was still alive. And he grew up in the, you know, working out and trained jiu-jitsu for 20 years, and that was his passion. He was good at it. He boxed, he fought, he was amazing. He was an amazing fighter, and he could tell you anything about the Bible and make it make more sense than any preacher I've ever talked to. And he always had a cross on his necklace, so that's why I have a cross. I designed a tattoo for him when he passed away, and it has a cross and boxing gloves and a tennis ball. He's actually in the Kentucky Tennis Hall of Fame now. So Sean motivates me more than he knows from heaven, and I feel like I have a lot of my brother in me, and I've always been called a little badass, so that's kind of where the Bad Ashe came from.
Right.
And he used to call me a little warrior, because I've been through a lot, and I've always been a little tough cookie or whatever, so I have a little warrior tattooed on me too. So, yeah, I think, you know, my family just motivates me. And I just want to be a better person today than I was yesterday. And I think that every day, like, what can I do better today than I did yesterday? So.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. I just gave the last guest, I got something for you too at the end of the episode. I'm giving every guest that comes on an item of GITT Apparel. But the one I gave him, it was the Inspired to Be Better shirt.
Love that.
Like, that's where I came with that. Like, you know, every day I just need to be better than I was yesterday. I'm not competing with anybody besides yesterday's self.
Competing against myself.
And it really resonates with your brother, because I got started in addiction when I was 19. I got in a fatal car accident. My best friend was driving. He passed away, and I ended up in Albany Med on a morphine drip. And I was 19, and took me till 37 to get sober. And it's like...
Well, good for you for getting sober. Congrats, because I know that's not easy. So congratulations on that and all that you've done.
Yeah, thank you. And, you know, he'd probably be looking down now like, oh, that's crazy. Like, you're actually sober, but not let alone using the story, using different passions, using different purposes, you know, to inspire and fuel other people. And it's like, that's what it's all about. Like you said, just giving back.
Got to go through the bad to get to the good.
Right. Sometimes the worst things we go through can actually be our superpowers to help somebody else going through that.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah. So if someone listening right now feels stuck or afraid to chase their dream, what would you tell them? Message
me, because let me tell you what. I have so many stories. Yeah, literally been there, done that, wore the dang T-shirt. And I can't stand for people to feel stuck. I have so many people that I know personally that actually feel stuck, or they're in horrible relationships or horrible marriages, and they don't know how to get out. And a lot of it, sadly, is because of financial issues, which, I mean, heck, the price of everything is outrageous these days. But there's so many things you can do, like, to make money. Like, I'm constantly working, you know, different jobs, because I live in Lexington. It's not cheap to live here, especially as a single mom. So, yeah, you can make excuses, or you can just get up and hustle. And, Lord, I'm a hustler, baby. I've always said I'm a hustler, but I like to be able to have nice things. I like to be able to do what I want to do. I want to enjoy life. I like to eat. I like to, you know, just be happy. And I can't stand for people to be stuck and feel unhappy. because there's so much to live for. And, like, the world can be such a beautiful thing, and life can be so beautiful. And I think it's important to live and not just exist, which I think I said that earlier. But don't feel like you are ever stuck in a situation, because I promise you can get out and you can succeed and you can be happy with your life. So, yeah, if you're feeling down or need a little boost, you can hit me up anytime. I got you. I'll help you any way I can.
And it's never too late to pursue your dreams.
No,
ever.
it's never. That's one thing that I can't stand to hear is when somebody says, you're too old for that.
No.
I hate that saying, and I'll tell you who says it to me more than anybody is my mother. Bobby Jean, if you're watching this, my mom likes to say that to me sometimes. You're too old for that. And I'm like, Mom, I'll have pink hair when I'm 90. I'll still have my tattoos when I'm 90 because they're not going anywhere. I may have a few more by then. But you are never too old to do anything. And I hate that phrase. No. Because you're not. You're not. I feel better now than I did when I was 20.
Right.
I'm healthier now. I'm mentally stronger now. I know more now. I'm wiser now. And right. I'm mentally stronger. So, yeah, you're never too old for anything.
Well, and don't listen to the people who tell you different. I mean,
yeah.
When I started over at 37, I was homeless, depressed, had anxiety, had nothing. And if you know me now and didn't know me then or didn't know my story, you'd have no clue any of that ever existed. So it's like, I got so much going on today. I got a grateful life, and I'm grateful to Jesus and God for my life. And it's like, you're never too old, man.
No, you're never too old.
I've done more in the last 6 years than I did in the first 37 by far.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of life is every single day you wake up, you have an opportunity to do whatever you want to do. You can change what you want to change. You can get out of a bad relationship. You can start a business. You can do whatever you want to do. You can change your hair color.
Right.
You can get a tattoo.
It's never too late.
It's never too late.
How do you think social media changed the way artists and entrepreneurs build their platforms today?
That is the one thing that I do that is positive
right.
About
the only
social
thing.
media, is the marketing and, networking and sharing and collaborating with others and, getting people in your corner that believe in your product or what you do or your visions and, being able to share things with so many people. And it can be from Kentucky to LA to Europe to Germany to Australia. Like, there's so many people. And I have friends from all those places that I've met online. And, that's one thing that I've learned through social media is I've had more support from strangers than people that I grew up with. And it's sad, but it happens that way. And I think one important thing to talk about with that issue is that when people that's known you your whole life, they may remember one thing about you, or you did this wrong, or you did this bad thing. They remember the bad things, but they don't ever want to talk about all the good things that you do.
Right.
And so, people can bring my past up anytime they want, and I'll sit down and have some popcorn with you and talk about it. I could care less because, I may have went through something at one point in my life, but that's who I am today, and that's how I got where I am today. So I think a lot of people, like it's easier to get support from strangers because they don't know your whole life.
Right.
But like I said, I'm transparent about things I've gone through, and because I like to share things like that. I like to share things that I've gone through and how it's made me who I am today because I hope that it motivates somebody else. So
90% of people that's bought my clothing and supported me and stuff is literally complete strangers. Yep. And because of social media, I had a reel in 2021 when I first started going hard with social media to promote my clothing and stuff. It went viral, and it got like 69.9 million plays.
Wow.
I got 42 and change thousand followers on Facebook on that one reel, to the point I had to turn notifications off because they didn't stop dinging for 90 days.
That's awesome, though.
And it was like India, Tibet, like Malaysia, like Germany, crazy. Like you're saying. I'm like, what? Like, this is awesome. And they're like very supportive. And it's awesome. Like a lot of people I grew up with are like, oh, all right, well, this dude's going to buy a ton of clothes and, be supporting me in New York.
Yeah. Nope.
Yeah. So it's like, you never know who you're inspiring or,
That's
so
true.
it's a cool platform for that.
And it only takes one thing that you post. Because I know I get on people's nerves with my videos. I get on my own nerves half the time. I'm like, I get sick of myself. I'm like, I know other people get sick of seeing me. But that's part of being, if you're making content of any type, you have to constantly, be consistent. And you have to be consistent with anything you do in life. So
You gotta stay in the
Consistency
algorithm.
is key,
Yeah.
and you have to keep posting because you never know what that's going like what that one video or that one caption is going to do to help other people or to help you or whatever. So you just got to keep it moving, keep
Right.
it moving.
Exactly. Get with it.
Get with it.
Get with the program.
Get on up.
Don't get left behind.
That's right.
So what message do you want young women, especially those from small towns, to take away from your story?
Don't feel stuck just because you are from a small town. I feel like a lot of people when I was younger, especially in college, that people think just because I have a Southern accent or that I'm some hillbilly. And I think people misjudge a lot of people from Kentucky in our area because a lot of time you get these movies that come out and they only want to show the bad parts and the poorest of the poorest and the worst stories. And it makes me so mad because, gosh, we have the most beautiful homes and people and rich communities and horse farms and, amazing places in Kentucky. But you don't hear about that as often as you do the drugs and the bad areas. And, there's been many times I got turned away from jobs or acting gigs because of my accent, but it's hard for me to hide my accent. Even like as an actress, I can't hide the twang. I just can't. But, Matthew McConaughey never really had to hide his twang, so you never know when someone might be looking for a Southern actress, and, hopefully I'll be your girl when that time comes. But don't ever feel stuck because other people look at where you're from differently or look at your accent differently because, I'm educated, but there's been many times people think, oh, you're just some pretty girl in front of a camera. No, I actually went to college. I have 4 different degrees. People don't realize that. They just take my picture, misjudge me instead of actually getting to know who I am as a person. And so don't, let doubts of other people mislead you into doing what you are very capable of doing. If you're talented, if you're a singer, if you're an artist, just keep putting your stuff out there. Keep sharing it. I don't care how many times you're told no or, oh, your stuff gets on my nerves or you post too much. Post it anyway. Post it anyway.
And then repost it.
Yeah, and then repost it.
So how do you handle self-doubt or comparison in such a visual, competitive industry? Because obviously I know that's a competitive industry.
Well, I've always been competitive being, raised with 2 older brothers. I've always been super, super competitive. And so I enjoy competition. And so I don't allow, things to really make me feel like I can't do something. Honestly, it fuels my fire to do it more. If you tell me I can't do something, I'll do it twice. I'll send you a picture of it too. It's always fueled my fire when someone doubts me. I use that as motivation more than anything. So.
Yeah, I'm super competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's awesome. I think that's the generation we grew up into.
Yeah, I think so too. Because we were always outdoors playing sports,
right.
Ball, whatever. We had to compete against each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So what's your creative process like when you're behind the camera or in front of it? What steps do you take? I know, because I know what I do, for shooting content and stuff, but I know.
I guess it just depends on what project I'm working on. Say, for example, the calendar shoot with Harley Davidson. The first step is I cast the models. The second step is we get a date kind of lined up. And I try to shoot 3 or 4 girls at one time. We've been shooting at the dealership the past 2 years. And so I get them to bring 3 or 4 different outfits. Once they get there, I see what they're going to wear. And then I pick out a motorcycle that's kind of going to go, because I get all the vision together on the spot, but I have to see it all. I'm a very visual person. So once they're there, we pick out wardrobe, pick out a motorcycle, and then I will just be like, okay, let's go down to the back shop. We're going to set these motorcycles up and, I just kind of design it as I go. I've always kind of been on the fly with stuff. I wing things. I've winged my whole life. So
I'm a winger.
Yeah, I'm a winger.
I can wing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, me too. But that's kind of how I do it. I don't really have I'm not very organized when it comes to that. My mind's always just flowing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
ADHD.
It's bad.
But you can use that.
Yeah, I'm an unmedicated ADHDer, so. And it doesn't help that I drink 3 and 4 cups of coffee a day. But I can't help myself. I love it.
I had something rebuttaled off that, but.
The ADHD? See, your mind just went, psh,
Yeah,
squirrel.
I'm like, maybe my ADHD just kicked in.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll think of it. So visualization, when you were talking about that, I was like, I just started doing that a couple years ago. I'm like, do you do visualization? It's like huge. I love it. Mm-hmm. I'm reading Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And it's like just writing down my goals and like what I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. And I started doing that a few years ago. And it's like, one was writing my book. One was the podcast. One, it's like I'm seeing all these things come into fruition now that I was writing down a couple of years ago. And I'm like, visualization is actually huge. Yeah. Just being able to see it before it happens.
Manifestation as well. Yeah. So they say if you write down your goals or whatever, you'll manifest it or whatever. Pray about it.
Right. Yeah. Pray about it, but then put the action and the work into making it happen. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's real.
Yep, it's real.
When people look back on your life and your work, what do you hope they remember about you?
Just who I was as a person, how kind I was to people, always motivating people, always helping people try to see the best in themselves. Just being a kind human.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a fantastic legacy.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're not helping others while we're here, what are we really doing, right?
Right.
It's like trying to accumulate $30 billion and then die.
Yeah.
There's no U-Hauls behind a hearse.
You can't take your money to the grave. Right. So, like I said, I enjoy a simple life. Very simple person. Easy peasy.
Being content's huge, too.
Yeah, it is. And my peace of mind is my most important thing. I'll never be in a situation that I don't feel at peace anymore. I worked a job years ago that ruined my mental health. Like, I was going home crying after work. I became so bad that I was stuttering, like legit stuttering. I could not get a sentence out because I was so tore up from this job. And after my brother passed away, I literally changed my entire concept of thinking. And I'm like, I will never again work a job that I hate to see retirement that I may not even live to see just because of the benefits, because who knows you're going to live that long. So right. I changed my whole concept of the way I lived after Sean passed away and after my dad passed away. I'm like, I'm just going to live each day being happy, doing whatever. Right. Whatever makes me happy. So.
Well, and it's like I did a reel recently, too, on, like, time as far as, like, you can get a ton done in the 5 to 9s. I love these people. I think it was, like, Don Draper from Mad Men. He had, like, a drink and a meme, and he was like, 40 hours? Yeah, I remember my first part-time job.
Yeah.
And it's like you can get so much done 5 to 9 a.m. and 5 to 9 p.m. working on yourself or trying to do other things, even outside of that 9 to 5, because we all have to work other jobs to get to a certain point. Mm-hmm. But it's like there's a lot of time in a day besides when you're sleeping.
Yeah, there is. And I think it's very important to work on you. Like, we have to work on ourselves. You got to be a strong person mentally, physically, emotionally, if you want to be there for somebody else. And I tell people, too, that's struggling a lot, like in their relationships or whatever. I know a lot of friends who don't know how to be alone. Like, they absolutely struggle with being alone. And I'm like, you got to love yourself and love your, like, solitude. Like, I enjoy my solitude. I don't care to go sit at dinner by myself. I've went and sat at Jeff Ruby's in gym clothes before. I don't care. Like, but there's a lot of people that don't know how to do that. And I think it's so important to learn to do things alone and to learn to love your solitude. And then once you learn to love yourself and focus on yourself, then when you are with your partner or your spouse or in your relationship or whatever, it's going to be even better. Like, you'll be a better person to yourself, and you'll be a better person to those around you.
Right. Yeah, that's why I started my clothing company, like mental, spiritual, and physical well-being, mm-hmm. Just the trifecta. Mm-hmm. It's like once you get there, you're comfortable with yourself, and you're definitely comfortable around other people.
Yep. It's huge.
So who or what inspires you to keep evolving and growing?
Myself, I guess.
Yourself?
I have to, like, I refuse to go back. I refuse to go backwards. I don't ever want to reach the point that I was at several years ago. I was very depressed. I didn't want to be here. My daughter, like I said, saved me more than she'll ever realize. That's the only thing that kept me going because I didn't want to be here. I wasn't working. I was in a huge rental home that was way too big for me and Bella, and I couldn't hardly afford it at the time. And I was, financial stress. Well, tear you apart. And I was miserable. I just was unhappy. I wasn't doing anything that I liked. I wasn't doing anything that brought me joy. So I hit the floor one morning and prayed and just begged God to take my anxiety away and my depression away and to help me get back to where I was and to get those bad thoughts that I was having out of my mind. And the next day I woke up completely just motivated, hustling, busy, and blessed. And so I think that's why I stay so busy. Like, I purposely try to stay busy because it makes me feel better. I don't have time to think about being sad. And I refuse to go back to that, to where I was so down and out, because I don't ever want to feel that way again. It was a very scary, dark time that I went through. And a lot of people don't even realize I went through that because I was very quiet about it. You know, I was very, like you said earlier, we only show our highlight reels most of the time. We don't always show the bad and the dark, but I have talked about it in a lot of things and that I write and stuff if people read my captions. But yeah, I don't want to go backwards. So I think I motivate myself. I just want to keep going, keep being a better person today than I was yesterday.
Yeah, and it's like people see where we're at now and not realize what it took to get to there. You know, they just want to be like, oh, well, they're lucky or they have this or that, not realizing the perseverance and the mental toughness that one has to go through to get to where they're at if they're doing something good in life.
Yep, absolutely. It's not like it was just handed to you. Like,
right.
I've worked hard for it. So.
Exactly. So any final words of wisdom you'd like to leave with the audience?
Final words of wisdom. I think that our entire episode has been some words of wisdom, honestly. Like, you have an amazing story. I have a pretty good story. Together we have a great story. Don't ever feel like you're stuck or idle. If you're having a rough time, you know, there's power in prayer, and there's power in just believing in yourself. Like, you have to believe in yourself. Like, give yourself more credit than you all probably give yourself. You're stronger than you think, and there's always someone that can help you if you need help, like whether it's just like being a hype person or, you know, helping you find your way or helping you get out of a bad relationship or find a job. Like, there's always resources out there. Don't be afraid to speak up. No one's going to judge you for it. And don't ever feel stuck. You can do anything you want to do. So.
Absolutely. And finally, if anybody wants to get a hold of you, follow your journey, or check out Bad Ashe Media, where can they go?
Instagram. I use Instagram mostly for everything. Instagram, Facebook. It's Ashe Parker, ASHE Parker with an underscore. My photography is Bad Ashe Media. So, yeah, I'm
nice.
Easy to find.
Coop, let me see that shirt, buddy. I'm gonna give you a shirt for being a guest on the show.
Thank you. Sweet.
And I can see it right through that bright light. I love it. So, it's not the breast cancer awareness one, but since National Recovery Month just passed, I got a cool purple ribbon shirt for you. I love it.
Well, purple also is for domestic violence.
Exactly, and that's right now.
It is, yeah. And, you know, that's one thing that I have touched on. I'm lucky to be here. I was in a very bad relationship with a guy that had PTSD and major drug issues, and woke up to an automatic shotgun at my face. And I used to not be able to talk about it. I can now. I used to have tremors in my sleep for months after that. But like I said, I'm lucky to be here. I'm lucky I didn't startle him into pulling the trigger when I woke up, because I just started screaming, I have a daughter that needs me, I have a daughter that needs me, and he kind of snapped out of it. If anyone's ever dealt with someone with PTSD, it's like this darkness overtakes their eyes, and I know people that's been through that will know exactly what I'm talking about, and it's almost like they're not truly who they are because they're overtaken by that issue. So he snapped out of it, and about the time he turned around, I just took off running out of the house. But I'm very lucky. I have no idea to this day how long he was standing there holding a gun over me and pointing it at me. So I'm very lucky I'm sitting here. I'm very blessed, and I thank God every day that I'm still here. So it was a bad situation I was in because I wanted to help him. And I think a lot of people I know want to help people, and they want to fix people, and you can't. You cannot fix someone that doesn't want to be fixed or that doesn't see that they have an issue. So I think that's important to touch on real quick. So I'm glad that you gave me this shirt.
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends who have gotten out of domestic violence relationships, and I'm so proud of them. So you can do it. Don't ever feel stuck.
If you want a shirt like I just gave Ashe, or like I'm wearing, or the hats, or all the cool stuff you see, check out GittLive.com, GITTLIVE.com. Follow Ashe on social media. Check out Bad Ashe Photography. And I appreciate you coming on the show, Ashe.
I appreciate you having me on. It's been great. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.